So I know what you're thinking. I haven't released any videos in over a month, and the last review that I did was my AC/DC Rock or Bust review of last year. I haven't exactly been the most active, needless to say, but I am going to be doing my best to rectify that. I do have a little bit of free time right now, and I thought it would be best spent by giving you guys another review. I know this one's a little bit late, but it is All That Remains: The Order of Things. Now, I just listened to it last night. I know it's been out for a while, but hey, I thought I'd give you my thoughts on it. Now, I don't really know how to go into this review. I don't really know how to take it that seriously because I really don't believe that All That Remains, specifically Philip Labonte, took this seriously. I don't know how he could have taken it seriously with such tracks as This Probably Won't End Well, No Knock, Divide, Pernicious, and of course True KVLT Metal. True, of course, being spelled TRU. And these tracks being, as mediocre as they are, with the exception of the latter, True KVLT Metal, which I'll get into a little bit later, I don't really know how to approach this in a serious fashion, because honestly, I don't think the band themselves took it that seriously. It seems like it's a troll album. I mean, with the lackluster success of A War You Cannot Win, now I actually reviewed that back in 2012 when it came out, but with the lackluster success of A War You Cannot Win, it just seems like they're just trying to shove it in people's faces that they know the album sucked, but they're gonna go that direction, that route anyways, because, there's nothing edgy about metal anymore. And to an extent, I mean, it's within their rights to release a troll album, I guess, or an album specifically designed to piss people off, but as an official All That Remains release that took over 3 years to produce and create, it's a little bit disappointing. No, I'm not going to lie, it's very disappointing. From the band that gave us Overcome, The Fall of Ideals, and This Darkened Heart, and, to a minor extent for We Are Many and A War You Cannot Win, this is very lackluster. This is very radio friendly, it's very watered down, and it's almost as if they did it on purpose, just to see what the reaction would be, because right after this album was released, Phil himself posted on his Facebook page, "I keep hearing the words fall, ideals, and the all the time on here, and it's pissing me off, blah blah blah, haters gonna hate, let the butthurt flow," and just all this juvenile delinquent crap that shouldn't really be posted on a public forum such as his Facebook page. And really, that's not any way to, professionally address your fans, in my opinion, for one. And I know his statements have been getting out of hand recently, but that's not what this is about. This is a review of The Order of Things, of course. And like I said, I'm just going in circles because I really do not know how to approach this album. There's 12 tracks on here, and the first one probably begins and probably sums up what All That Remains, the band in its entirety, felt about the album after they released it, or before they released it. They were probably thinking, I don't really know about this album, this probably won't end well. I mean, it's almost like they were throwing it in our faces. Like, they know that people are going to get pissed off, or they know that people will stand by their side and claim they evolved, they changed, and all this stuff. Bullshit. People were saying the same thing when A Thousand Suns came out, and that album turned out to be an atrocity. This one's not so bad because it does have 2 songs on it that I do like, Bite My Tongue, and of course True KVLT Metal, but I do have a criticism of the latter song, which I will get to in a bit. I don't know if I'm going to do a track by track. I'm going to try and kind of, list off the tracks and the things I like and the things I don't like, but I don't know if I'm going to name all of them. Let's start with This Probably Won't End Well, which probably sums up my review. It'd probably be my description in the box below. So, This Probably Won't End Well. It's probably one of the better songs on the album, not one that I would necessarily say I like. It begins with, this kind of, they're trying to go an atmospheric route with some pianos, some special effects, some echoing, some distortion, and before it gets into the traditional radio-friendly nature that All That Remains has employed before on songs such as Not Fading and What If I Was Nothing. Those two, of course, being my least favorite on A War You Cannot Win. Now, they haven't necessarily gone this radio-friendly before. They've been radio-friendly even before the days of A War You Cannot Win, but they've never been quite this bad, or quite this watered down, I should say, because even the production, I have to say, is very flat and very disappointing. It's almost like they just tried to make it as bland as they possibly could. Much like I said, they tried to piss people off. They're trying to troll people. They're trying to get into people's heads and say, fuck you. We're All That Remains. We will make whatever kind of music we want. And personally, I think it's all Phil. I mean, no one else is really saying anything about it. I mean, none of the other band members thus far that I've seen have said much of anything, really. I'll look it up after recording this, and I'll probably post a comment if I'm wrong, but come on. The next one's called No Knock, and this one seems like it's trying to harken back to the old days of All That Remains, back when they were a little bit more heavy, although it fails miserably. Much like I said, where the production is very flat, this employs the same guitar melody, the same riff over and over again, to Phil just screaming throughout the entire thing. Now, one might think that this would be the variety that this album needs. In the midst of all of the radio friendliness, there is the one gem where it's actually a little bit heavy and it actually sounds a little bit like All That Remains that we know of, but no, this isn't even it. This is very watered down, very not really radio friendly, but just not really even heavy. The next one is Divide. This one begins with kind of a cool guitar hook, but after that it just fails miserably. I don't know what it is. It just kind of goes back into that radio-friendly, watered-down crap that we all know of. It just sounds very generic to the ear. Same thing with The Greatest Generation. For You, this one is not so great either. It begins with an acoustic guitar and then, of course, gets into the, this probably won't end well structure of music making. A Reason for Me to Fight. This one sounds exactly, and I mean almost down to note for note, exactly like The Greatest Generation. It's almost like they didn't even try. I mean, it's like they just produced the same melody and said, okay, we have these lyrics for A Reason for Me to Fight, but we don't know where to put them. We don't really feel like making a new track or a new pace or, new tempo, so we're just going to use The Greatest Generation. It sounds like they use the exact same things. So, at least with the tempo, it sounds exactly the same. At least with the melody, they blend in together very, very well, which is not a good thing. Victory Lap. This one at first I thought was pretty good because of the intro, but then it really degrades. It's kind of catchy at first, but it's not necessarily the greatest song on the album, because as soon as you really understand what Phil is singing about, you're just like, oh my god, just shut up. Seriously, shut up. Because he's talking about how metal isn't edgy anymore, about how your favorite band sucks, and how if All That Remains used to be your favorite band, then you'll stick by them instead of being whiny little bitches. And it's very juvenile. I'll say that. It's very, very immature. That's what this entire album is. And like I said, it's trying to piss people off. That's exactly what this album is doing. So I didn't really know how to go into it. I said this over and over again, but it's true. I really do not know how to go into the order of things. So the next song is Pernicious, another one that's just radio-friendly, watered-down dribble. I do not like it. It employs the exact same techniques, the auto-tune, the echo effects, the distortion, the very soft-spoken, lyrics, and it's just... Is this a Coldplay album? I mean, is this a hard rock album? Is this a soft rock album? Is this Nickelback or Lifehouse or, Goo Goo Dolls? No, this should be All That Remains, but it's not. Fiat Empire is the same thing, but Phil, I really don't like his vocals on this song at all. It seemed like he's straining himself, and of course the song I forgot, Bite My Tongue. This one is actually pretty decent. It's just singing. It doesn't sound too radio friendly. It's just got the perfect mix of, well, I'm not going to say metal, but heaviness and, I guess, radio friendly oriented rock. So I do like it. I do like the guitar riffs, and I like the drumming. I like the pace. It's just an overall good song. True KVLT metal. Now, this would be my favorite song on the album if not for the production. Phil and friends fucked up the production on purpose. They made it way too loud, and they made it almost to the point, so loud almost to the point where it'll blow your speakers. And it's just him screaming and, singing, and it sounds like it could be on, maybe For We Are Many, or even, Fall of Ideals. Not necessarily as heavy as This Darkened Heart, but they fuck up the production on purpose. The entire song is just a sarcastic jab at their fans again. So I would like this song, but the lyrics are just very, very condescending. The next song, Criticism and Self-Realization. This is the longest song the band has ever done, that the band has ever really produced. There's a little bit of screaming, there's a little bit of singing as well. The guitars are pretty decent, especially towards the the beginning half, but by 3 or 4 minutes, it gets very old very fast. So that's all I'll say. Overall, I'd give this album probably 4.5 out of 10. I mean, I honestly can't take a Troll album seriously. I mean, I don't know what else to say. 4.5 out of 10. That's my final offer. That's my final rating. Keep calm and rock on. This is Midnight Strike 3625.